Drunk at a family dinner, I slammed the table and yelled that Lu Feifei had a bite scar on her inner thigh from me. So when will you be my son-in-law? Her mom teased. I'd rather be a nun than marry this jerk, she snapped back. I wouldn't marry you, even if every other woman on earth died. Later, I returned from studying abroad. My parents sent me to bring her home for dinner, but I spotted her new boyfriend at the club. Realizing I was looking for Feifei, he shoved me toward the door. A toad dreaming of eating swan meat. Doesn't everyone know Lu Feifei is an absolute clean freak? She never even glances at other men besides her boyfriend. What's going on here? Lu Feifei, Gu Chen, why are you here? Ha ha ha. Not bad, I actually thought you forgot about me. This guy actually dares to date the Lu family heiress? What's the matter? Throwing a huge fit as soon as you get back. Do you have any idea how much trouble I went through just to find you? Wait, am I seeing things right now? Is this person standing in front of me really the flawless Miss Lu? Alright. Your hair is an absolute mess. Is this homeless artist vibe the new trend abroad? This is all thanks to you. What did I do? I just found out you were back, okay? This boyfriend of yours is something else. I came inside to find you, and he started giving me trouble and shoving me. Feifei, your taste is truly spectacular. Han Xuan, did you put your hands on him? Who gave you the nerve? Miss Lu, please let me explain. It's not what he said. His attitude was just way too arrogant. And why does he get to call you by your full name? Doing that is just completely disrespecting you. I got mad and why? Because I gave him permission. How he addresses me is none of your business. I still had some lingering anger, but hearing her defend me like that made me feel so much better. Haha, I've had a crush on Lu Feifei for a long time. I've never seen any guy dare to act so bold around her. Even her past boyfriends had to call her Miss Lu. No one ever got a special exception. Miss Lu, I really had no idea. I didn't know he was so close to you. I'm so sorry. I genuinely didn't know. I originally wanted to teach this guy a lesson, but looking at him now, how could I? Gotta admit though, he's definitely smart. He knows Feifei well enough to realize that groveling right now is his only survival strategy. Fine, you handle it yourself. Han Xuan, tell me, exactly how should I punish you? I'm so sorry, it's completely my fault. I never should have swung at him without asking. Alright, enough hitting. Any more of this and it'll look like I'm abusing my power. Let's go. Come back with me. The rest of you can keep partying. Or if you don't want to, just head home. I'm leaving. Oh, where's my phone? Miss Lu, your phone is right here. Seeing that screen, all my earlier frustration of not reaching her instantly boiled over. Feifei, I was calling you and you seriously didn't even recognize my voice. Plus, I took a cab here with zero cash. I tried calling you for help and you ignored me. If you're not going to use your phone, just recycle it. Ugh, the VIP room was insanely loud. It's completely normal that I couldn't hear your voice. What's going on with you anyway? Coming back to the country so suddenly. You tracked me down this late. Is it something important? Even when I visited during the holidays before, I was never this desperate to find her. Gu Chen, did you suddenly realize you're head over heels for me? Rushing over here just to fight with my ex-boyfriend? Tell me, were you rushing over to confess your love? Your skin is getting thicker by the minute, you know that? Can't you take a joke? Did living in America destroy your sense of humor? I'm in a terrible mood tonight. Cracking jokes when I'm like this means you're asking for a death wish. Speak. What exactly do you want? I need you to open the door. I don't have your keys. Just call my mom. Not only will someone open the door, they'll literally line up to welcome you. Wait, hold on a second. Which house are you talking about? You can't possibly mean the apartment I'm living in, right? Exactly. Why else would I come looking for you? I shot her a completely disdainful glare. Why on earth do you need to go to my apartment? It's so late. If you need a place to crash, just go to my mom's. Why bother me? Even though she was faintly sensing something was totally off, she didn't want to confirm the feeling. She prayed she was wrong. So you don't know either? My mom completely played both of us. Relax, don't worry. I'm a victim in this too. I totally understand how you feel. What on earth is going on here? Why do I suddenly have to share a roof with Gu Chen? I absolutely cannot accept this. Even if he's my childhood best friend, it's a hard no. Is this some kind of ridiculous joke? I didn't say a single word right then. I just thoughtfully gave Feifei some quiet time to digest this massive bomb. I just stood there quietly waiting. That is, until a guy stormed right up to me, snarling aggressively. Hey kid, hand over the cash. You trying to skip out on the bill? It was the cab driver. I suddenly remembered that in my frantic rush, I had jumped out of the car without paying him. Sorry man, I'll pay you right now. Knowing my pockets were completely empty, I pulled the clueless Feifei right to my side. Feifei, spot me some cash. I'm totally broke and can't even cover the cab fare. Look, I'll prove it. So I pulled both of my pockets completely inside out right in front of her. I emptied them, then helplessly held up my hands. Extremely speechless, Feifei walked over to the driver and asked politely, Sir, how much is his fare? I'll cover it. The driver looked her up and down, his eyes locking onto her designer handbag. He was thrilled. This trip was definitely a goldmine. He hit the jackpot. This girl clearly had more money than brains, making her the perfect easy target. Well, beautiful, the young man's ride here costs 480. The QR code is right here. Just scan it. Hearing that absolute nonsense, I stepped forward and demanded, Your meter said 48. Where did 480 come from? Buddy, I will literally report you. I was furious and ready to start swearing, but Feifei calmly stepped up to the driver, smiling way too sweetly. Sir, 480? I'll scan it. Ah, perfect, you just scan right here. I've already saved the payment receipt. I'm highly confident I'll be needing it soon. The very next second, the driver's greedy smile completely vanished. His face went dead pale. He thought he could extort some easy money, but now he was the one getting crushed. I was wrong. Please don't report me. I have a family to feed. What will I do without a job? I have kids and parents. Please just let me off. Ignoring his pathetic crying, Feifei made a quick phone call. Moments later, her massive bodyguards arrived. This guy is annoying me. Handle it however you see fit. Understood, Miss Lu. We will give you a highly satisfactory result. After speaking, the bodyguard completely ignored the struggling driver, roughly grabbing him and dragging him away. I watched them pull him into a dark alley and faintly heard a brutal scream echoing out. Let's go. Time to head home. I nodded and got into Feifei's car. Hearing the loud roar of the engine kick in, the sports car quickly left the bar behind. Soon enough, we arrived back at her luxury apartment. I was just about to drag my luggage inside when my footsteps suddenly paused. Turning to Feifei, I calmly suggested, "Hey, just add my thumbprint to the smart lock. It'll make opening the door way easier for me." No way. Why on earth should I give you access? I dropped my heavy bags and crossed my arms, perfectly mimicking her stubborn pose. Because starting today, I officially live here now. If you don't add my fingerprint, how am I supposed to get in and out? I stepped closer, leaning right next to her ear, and teased in a low voice. Or is the great Miss Lu planning to be my personal live-in butler? Doing absolutely nothing all day but opening and closing the door for me? What? You're living here? Who the hell said you're living here from now on? Did you even get my permission first? This is my private territory. Sure, we grew up together as kids, but that absolutely does not mean I welcome you invading my personal space. Your mom told me to live here. You think I actually want to? Wait, Gu Chen. Earlier you said my mom played me. What exactly did you mean by that? Does it have to do with this? Oh, Miss Lu is quite smart. You finally connected the dots. I nodded, teasing her lightly, but honestly worried she'd blow up. I then explained seriously, it's because we're getting engaged very soon. So our parents want us living together to build up some romance. Feifei stared at me, highly doubting her own ears. Say what? Engaged to you? What kind of sick joke is this? Look, anyway, that's just how the situation is. If you want the exact reasons, go interrogate your mom yourself. I'm totally exhausted. Honestly, I'm practically falling asleep standing up. I'm going to bed. Bye. With that, I waved at her, dragging my luggage straight into the bedroom. Lu Feifei yanked me right back by the arm. You need to explain yourself first, otherwise you aren't leaving. I just let myself collapse backward onto the sofa without a single word. I wanted my dead weight to prove just how absolutely exhausted I really was right then. You're just as infuriating as when we were little. You haven't changed at all. Tomorrow, I'll call my mom to drag you back to the old house. I'm staying right here. Hearing that, I immediately sat straight up off the couch, scratching my head in pure confusion. Didn't I literally just tell you? Starting today, I'm living at your place. Can you not understand plain English? Lu Feifei glared right back at me and snapped, this whole engagement thing, I am absolutely never going to accept. Well, since you refuse, just go back and tell your parents and Grandpa Lu yourself. I definitely can't make that call for you. Hearing that, Lu Feifei frowned even deeper. Wait, Grandpa is involved in this mess too? What kind of absolute mess is this? Seeing how incredibly frustrated she was getting, I offered a suggestion. Why not just go back home the day after tomorrow? If you're confused, just ask them directly. Hearing my idea, Lu Feifei clearly wasn't happy about it. Why do you get to stay completely out of this? No way, you have to come back with me. I threw my hands up, totally indifferent. Sure, whatever. You'll have to accept the final outcome anyway, so going back works for me. It's probably going to be a pretty wild scene. At least I won't be bored this time. Oh, by the way, you're heading to campus tomorrow morning, right? Don't forget to wake me up. She glared at me. Why on earth would you go to school with me? I leaned back on the couch and gave her a giant grin. Because starting tomorrow, I am officially transferring to your school. Lu Feifei gave me this massive "Are you entirely serious right now?" look. She stood completely frozen for a good minute, but I just ignored her and kept humming a happy little tune. I wandered off into the bathroom. After getting all washed up and tossing on my pajamas, I called out to Lu Feifei, "All right, I'm going to sleep." The next morning, even though she was incredibly reluctant, she didn't want to just ditch me there. So, she actually drove me to campus. Lu Feifei's college was this massive elite university. The grounds were so gorgeous it didn't even look like a school, but more like some crazy expensive mansion district. When we were still a few hundred meters away from the main gate, I started shouting, "Stop! Pull over right here! Just drop me off right here." Lu Feifei slammed on the brakes and gave me a totally baffled look. We aren't even at the campus yet. What are you getting out? I just raised an eyebrow, gave her a knowing smirk, and fired back, because I'm actually smart. Look, Miss Lu, you are practically a celebrity around this campus. If everyone sees me walking through those gates right beside you, my peaceful life is officially over. So, just to completely dodge any unnecessary drama today, I need to hop out early. Lu Feifei narrowed her eyes, looking completely lost now. What kind of absolute nonsense was I rambling about? Even though she couldn't figure out my logic, she definitely wasn't going to let me off that easily. Wow, Gu Chen. Did a trip abroad turn you into a total coward? Are you seriously afraid of a little drama? Or are you just terrified of being seen with me? She leaned in super close as she spoke, clearly hoping to watch me squirm. That familiar signature perfume of hers immediately hit my senses and lingered there. My ears burned blazing hot, and I quickly looked away, shouting back defensively, "Are you kidding me? Why would I ever be scared of them? Lu Feifei, you are seriously underestimating me right now." Hearing my incredibly stubborn response, Lu Feifei flashed this ridiculously sly little smirk. "All right then, let's head into campus together." "Fine, let's go." Whoever backs out is a total coward. Lu Feifei didn't say another word, she just slammed on the gas and drove straight into the university gates. When we finally hit the parking lot, I completely ignored Lu Feifei, hopped right out of the car, and took off. I was wandering around the campus, casually waiting for her to catch up. I got completely lost, and when I spun around to head back, I accidentally slammed right into a girl wearing glasses. She let out a tiny gasp. Her bright eyes immediately filled up with tears from the heavy impact. I quickly stepped back, completely panicked, and apologized. "Oh my god, I am so sorry. Are you all right?" She rubbed her arm gently. "I'm totally fine. I honestly wasn't watching where I was going either. You must be a brand new transfer student, right? I've definitely never seen you around campus before today." I rubbed my neck awkwardly. "Yeah, I guess so. Today is actually my very first day here." "Well, since you're totally new to the school, why don't I give you a proper tour of the campus?" "Did you head up here all by yourself, or did you come with someone?" I almost blurted out that I came with Lu Feifei, but I was still pretty annoyed and didn't want to bring her up. So I just lied. "I came entirely on my own." "Thank you so much. I'd really appreciate that. I'm Gu Chen, by the way. What's your name?" Her eyes curved into this incredibly sweet smile. "Hi there, Gu Chen. My name is Zhou Miao." So we spent the entire walk chatting away, and the vibe between us was just instantly comfortable. Meanwhile, Lu Feifei finally finished parking her car. When she stepped out of the lot and realized I was completely gone, she frowned heavily. She muttered under her breath, "Gu Chen, oh Gu Chen, you really are an absolute nightmare. You just never make things easy for anyone. Did I somehow lock down a fiancé? Or am I just babysitting an overgrown toddler?" She let out a massive sigh, stood frozen for a second, and aggressively dialed my number on her phone. But I absolutely refused to pick up. Frustrated, she called the principal to explain the mess, then started hunting me down across campus. Over on my end, my phone had been dead for hours, so I had zero clue that Lu Feifei was completely losing her mind trying to track me down. "Gu Chen, you absolute idiot. Just wait until I catch you." Meanwhile, Zhou Miao and I were having an amazing conversation. I quickly found out she was a straight-A student, basically holding the #1 rank in the whole school, so I couldn't help but playfully tease her a bit. In an elite place like this, an insane university like this, there has to be some sort of campus beauty ranking, right? Honestly, Zhou Miao, you're absolutely gorgeous. You have this super gentle personality, and you're basically a genius. You've got to be the #1 campus beauty, right? "Gu Chen, thank you so much for the incredibly sweet compliment, but I'm really not the campus beauty. I don't even qualify for a title like that." I stared at her, completely shocked. "Are you kidding? You seriously aren't the top girl here?" "Zhou Miao, if someone as ridiculously pretty as you doesn't make the cut, then wait a second. Don't tell me the campus beauty is actually Lu Feifei?" The second I dropped that name, Zhou Miao immediately stared at the ground and nervously adjusted her glasses. "You actually know who she is? She's ridiculously popular around the school, right? I heard she runs through boyfriends like crazy. You're practically a campus star yourself, so even in different grades, you definitely know her, right?" Zhou Miao nodded slowly. "I mean, I know of her, but we aren't close at all. She really does have a ton of boyfriends. Basically, if a guy is even slightly attractive, she wants to claim him." "Let me guess, you have a massive crush on her too?" I scoffed loudly. "Her? She's a complete psycho. I genuinely cannot stand that girl, I swear." I could totally read her expression. She definitely thought I was just another one of Lu Feifei's obsessed fanboys. But as I ripped into her, Zhou Miao stared at me, probably realizing my face had absolutely zero trace of that pathetic, starry-eyed admiration. She clearly thought I was quite an interesting guy. I waved my hand dismissively. I seriously hate her whole vibe. Honestly, if I had to choose, I think you're way better than her. What is even so special about that girl anyway? She just completely coasts on being rich and attractive. Her personality is just pure toxic garbage. Whoever actually falls for her is seriously cursed for life. Zhou Miao just stared at me in total shock, clearly hearing someone thrash the famous Lu Feifei like this for the very first time. She examined my face like I was a literal alien. Seeing my violently disgusted expression, she finally couldn't hold it in and completely cracked up laughing. "You are such a fascinating guy." She immediately seemed so much warmer toward me, dropping that awkward, polite distance. I instantly took the opportunity to get a bit closer. "I still have absolutely no clue what class I'm in yet." "Zhou Miao, what class are you in? That way I can totally come bug you and hang out. Since I literally just got back to the country, can I come to you if I need help?" I mean, a genius like her, who was gorgeous and ridiculously easy to talk to. I definitely needed to lock in that friendship. Having incredibly smart and capable friends is never a bad investment, especially for the future. She nodded happily. "Of course! My classroom is right up on the 3rd floor. If you ever get totally lost, just come find me up there. I glanced around the courtyard and suddenly realized the place was an absolute ghost town. Everyone must have already headed inside for class. I smiled at Joe Meow. I'd better not keep you from class anymore. As a totally lost freshman, I should probably go report to the principal's office anyway. Catch you later. See ya. I gave her a wave and strolled over toward the massive administration building. Once I finally pushed into the principal's office, the guy literally froze the second he saw me. He jumped out of his leather chair and instantly started kissing up, frantically setting out expensive fruits and cold drinks. Oh, young Master Gu, welcome. Please, just take a seat and relax for a quick second. He quickly ducked out into the hallway and furiously dialed Lu Feifei to report my exact location. Miss Lu, I have young Master Gu sitting right here in my office. I could faintly hear him confirming that she got the message. He sounded ridiculously desperate to please her. Oh, understood. Seriously, Miss Lu, you don't need to run all the way over here. Just head straight to your class. I will personally have a staff member escort the young master directly to his class. It wasn't until Lu Feifei finally hung up that the principal let out a massive, dramatic sigh of total relief. He scurried back into the office and made one more quick phone call. A couple of minutes later, this ridiculously serious-looking guy walked in, sporting these thick, black-rimmed glasses. He gave the principal a perfectly respectful nod and asked, "Sir, what did you need to see me for?" The principal gestured wildly to me. "This right here is our brand-new transfer student, Gu Chen. He actually just transferred over from an incredibly elite preparatory high school abroad, boasting absolutely flawless grades. Escort him directly to his new class. He is undeniably a top priority student for our academy's future." Do I make myself perfectly clear? It was pretty obvious the teacher completely caught onto the principal's ridiculously heavy-handed hint. "Crystal clear, sir." He motioned for me to follow, and we headed out. Walking right up to my new classroom door, I couldn't stop smirking to myself. Back in that office, when the principal confidently claimed I had completely flawless grades, it took everything in my absolute power not to completely burst out laughing. Honestly, I only flew back to this country to treat school like a massive joke anyway, so none of those lies really mattered. The strict teacher proudly marched me right up to the front of the room and announced, "Everyone, this is our newest transfer student, Gu Chen. Please, go ahead and introduce yourself." "Hello everyone, my name is Gu Chen. Gender male, hobbies, beautiful women, please take care of me." The class immediately erupted into laughter after my bold introduction, and I could hear tons of excited whispers spreading around. I scanned the classroom, hunting for a beautiful girl. Naturally, I wanted to sit next to someone gorgeous. At least it would be great for my eyes. Since this is an elite academy, I actually spotted a few incredibly pretty faces in the crowd right away. They were cute, but after meeting Joe Meow earlier, no one else really caught my eye. Then Mr. cleared his throat and asked me, "Gu Chen, who do you want to sit with? It is completely up to you. As long as she agrees, you can pick any seat." The second the teacher said that, all the girls jumped up, shouting over each other. "Gu Chen, sit by me. I will buy you a fresh breakfast every single morning. Plus, I have amazing grades. Sit with me instead. If you ever struggle with your homework, I have totally got your back. I will buy you snacks every day too." "Hey handsome, I will do whatever you want." That wild comment caught everyone completely off guard. The rest of the class instantly started booing her out loud. I honestly found these students pretty hilarious. After thinking for a second, I asked them, "Who is the absolute prettiest girl in our classroom?" To my surprise, everyone froze. Then, the entire room stared straight at one specific desk. Everyone suddenly had a really weird look on their face. Following their gaze, I spotted an empty desk way in the back row by the window. Did the most beautiful girl skip school today? Well, I only want the absolute best. Since both of those corner seats were completely empty, I flashed a confident smile, strolled right over, and claimed the open chair. "Mr. Wei, I am going to sit right here." The teacher looked super uncomfortable. He hesitated before awkwardly muttering, "Sure, sit there if you really want to." "All right, quiet down everyone. Please make sure to look after our brand new transfer student. Let us all be friendly, understood? All right, let us get back to the lesson." But honestly, nobody was paying attention anymore. The girls kept turning around to sneak peeks at me, while the guys were glaring at me, trying to size me up. Once the bell rang, I felt incredibly bored, so I decided to track down Lu Feifei and see what kind of fabulous life she was living. Walking up to the second floor, I headed straight into her classroom. Glancing around, I immediately spotted her. Unbelievable. She was flirting right in front of me with some random guy. I mean, we are officially engaged now. Getting a little jealous over my own fiancé is completely normal, right? That is what I kept telling myself. Lu Feifei was really crossing a line here. She knew this was my very first day on campus. I did not know anyone or anywhere. I had wandered all the way over here with Joe Meow, and she never even bothered to look for me. Instead, she was busy flirting with some random boy. I was absolutely furious. Suddenly, a brilliant idea popped into my head. "Lu Feifei, since you want to play games, do not blame me for playing dirty." I tapped a random student. "Hey, could you do me a massive favor and call Lu Feifei? Tell her that her husband is looking for her. Please?" "Oh wow, sure thing. I will go grab her right now. Totally adorable." "Hey Lu Feifei, your husband is here for you." The incredibly loud classroom instantly dropped into dead silence. I could easily picture every single person in there, staring with their eyes bulging out. A few minutes later, Lu Feifei marched out with a completely stone-cold expression on her face. I happily waved to show her exactly where I was. Gu Chen, I knew it was you. You purposely came here to cause trouble, right? Lu Feifei, you were too busy talking to another guy to even check on me. When we get back to your house tonight, I am telling your mom everything. Lu Feifei just let out a massive sigh. Gu Chen, what exactly do you want? I have not even confronted you about this morning. You literally ran off the second we parked and ignored my calls. Do you know how hard I searched for you? She shot me a deeply frustrated look. Honestly, I completely ignored her angry expression. I was way too busy staring at the door right behind her. Sure enough, that same guy she was just flirting with had followed her out and was glaring right at us, just as I suspected. Feeling a little mischievous, I immediately reached out and pulled her into a tight hug. The furious guy. Seeing me grab her, his face turned completely red with rage. He clenched his fists but did not dare step forward, terrified of breaking the wealthy lady's rules. He could only grit his teeth in pure anger as he watched me drag her away. I pulled her far away from the massive crowd. Lu Feifei finally snapped out of it and aggressively swatted my hand right off her shoulder. She glared daggers at me and yelled, "Who on earth gave you the nerve to treat me like that? Have I been way too nice to you lately?" I threw my hands up. Hey, that is totally unfair. I just saw you getting way too close with some guy and felt incredibly jealous. I only did it because I wanted to scare that guy off and make him keep his distance. I needed everyone to know you are my fiancé. I honestly did not mean to cause trouble. Please forgive me, alright? I will even buy you a nice lunch today. Gu Chen, can you please just behave yourself from now on? Stop causing drama for me. I just want to go to my classes in peace. Is it really that hard to grant my one simple wish? Realizing she was mad, I quickly changed the subject. Hey, are you feeling hungry? Let us go grab some delicious lunch so we are totally ready for the afternoon classes. Without waiting for an answer, I dragged her straight to the bustling cafeteria. But the second we arrived, she spotted her wealthy friends, waved goodbye, and completely ditched me, leaving me totally alone. Just as I was stressing out about finding an empty table, I turned and spotted a girl quietly eating by herself. I boldly walked right over to her desk. Hey there, the cafeteria is completely packed. Do you mind if I share this table with you? She just silently stared at me for a solid minute before finally giving a soft fine. Once I sat down, I sneakily glanced at her perfectly flawless face. My heart skipped a beat. She was incredibly gorgeous. That mysterious icy vibe she had was just magnetically attractive. It seriously made you want to uncover all of her secrets. But I stayed quiet and quickly scarfed down my lunch. Heading back to the classroom, my very first afternoon period was literature. That is exactly when I noticed that my mysteriously missing desk partner had finally decided to show up. I took a closer look. Wait, was not this the exact same girl from the cafeteria? Thrilled, I leaned in and excitedly whispered to her, "Wow, what an awesome coincidence. We meet again." She did not say a single word to me. She simply gave me a cold glance and slightly nodded, showing she remembered me. Feeling a bit bolder, I decided to push my luck. What is your name? I am Gu Chen, the newest transfer student here. She stayed completely silent, but her eyebrows dramatically pulled together in clear annoyance. Her ignoring me actually triggered my rebellious side, making me want to bother her even more. Hey beautiful, seriously, what is your real name? Finally, clearly getting sick of my constant whispering, she scribbled the name Yu Xin on a tiny scrap of paper and violently tossed it onto my desk. Once I finally got her name, I promised to leave her alone. Honestly, that literature lecture felt like pure hypnosis, and I spent the whole time dozing off. Meanwhile, Yu Xin sat perfectly still, diligently taking notes like a model student. I even got screamed at by the teacher to stand up and answer a random question. Eventually, I barely survived until the bell rang. The second the teacher left, I stretched my arms and collapsed onto my desk for a deep nap. I was completely dead to the world until Yu Xin suddenly smacked my shoulder to wake me up. I quickly realized that we were the only two students left in the classroom. Yu Xin looked at me calmly. School is over. Are you going to sleep forever? Seeing my confused face, she actually let out a quiet chuckle. Then she warned me, if you do not leave right now, the security guard is going to lock the main gates. Are you seriously planning to spend the night in here? I frantically shook my head and scrambled out of my chair. Grabbing my heavy backpack, I paused at the doorway, turning back to look at her. Thanks so much for waking me up. I am heading out now. It is getting late. You should hurry up and head home too. Walking around in the dark is not safe for a pretty girl. With that, I walked out the door. I left Yu Xin sitting alone at her desk, full of a hidden smile as she watched me leave. Once I got outside, I grabbed my phone to call Lu Feifei and see where she was hiding. I dialed her number multiple times, but she totally ignored every single ring. Seriously, what is Lu Feifei even doing right now? Did we not agree to go back to her family mansion together tonight? When she finally answered the phone, she brushed me off and casually mumbled, "Oh, I am already back at the old estate. You better hurry up and get here. The whole family is starving, waiting for you to eat dinner." Why did she abandon me like that? Lu Feifei, you are so dead. Just wait until I get back to the mansion. I am absolutely telling your mother exactly how you treated me. You just wait! I stomped over to the school gates to hail a cab. While waiting around, I started boredly kicking some loose gravel. Suddenly, I noticed Yushin slowly walking out of the quiet campus. We both locked eyes and completely froze. By total coincidence, we both blurted out the exact same question. Why are you still here? Right then, a sleek black luxury car pulled up to the curb. It was her driver, and she was just about to hop in. But she noticed I was still stranded on the dark sidewalk. She hesitated for a long second. Gathering a surprising amount of courage, she nervously asked me, "Where exactly are you heading? Do you want a ride? After all, this elite academy is pretty far from the main city center." I quickly waved my hands. "Oh no need, my cab will be here any minute. You go ahead and get home safely. See you tomorrow." "Oh, okay." The car sped away. Right after Yushin left, my ride finally pulled up. We headed straight for Tanshan Courtyard. Before I knew it, we reached the old Lu family mansion, and I stepped out. Pulling up to the iron gates of the villa, I saw a whole row of servants standing in a perfectly straight line, shouting in unison, "Welcome back, young master." I was completely caught off guard by this massive, over-the-top display. Once I finally snapped out of my shock, I just waved at them and headed inside. The second I walked in, I heard a loud popping sound that scared the life out of me. Colorful confetti rained down all over my shoulders. "Ah, Chen is back! Ha ha!" Someone cheered happily. As they saw the two of us standing closely together, a warm, picturesque scene unfolded right before their eyes. Our mothers shared a highly satisfied smile before eagerly dragging the two of us right into the banquet hall. I noticed the living room was decorated in a super festive style, and they had invited quite a crowd. Every single guest was dressed incredibly formally. My eyebrows twitched in sheer confusion. I shot a totally puzzled look at Lu Feifei. Right then, she leaned in close and whispered softly into my ear, "This is the grand engagement party our moms threw for us." My mom figured there is no better time than the present. And, since we just got back anyway, they decided to completely make it happen today. So they just went ahead with it. I guess I had to accept this shocking reality and stop fighting it. Lu Feifei was just about to snap back at me, but noticing a few guests approaching us, she instantly smiled and firmly linked her arm through mine, giving me a stealthy pinch. Once the guests finally walked away, we both immediately let go of each other. Just as we were gearing up to start bickering again, I heard Mother Lu calling out loudly, "Ah, Chen, Feifei, where are you two? Come over here quickly and look. I ordered an absolutely gorgeous, custom-made cake especially for your big engagement party. Oh, you two are absolutely going to love it." Hearing this, I sighed helplessly, pretending to be thrilled, and replied, "We are coming. We will be right there." I grabbed Lu Feifei's hand and pulled her straight toward the dessert area. When we got there, we were staring at a massive, 10-tier cake. It was incredibly stunning, looking exactly like a fairy tale castle. It was literally the ultimate dream cake that any girl would ever wish for. I sneaked a quick glance at Lu Feifei's reaction in that moment. Her eyes were curved into happy little crescents as she stared at the dessert, completely filled with pure joy. Suddenly, Father Lu gave my shoulder a heavy, reassuring pat and solemnly instructed me, "From now on, you really have to take incredibly good care of Feifei, understood? I am officially handing her over to you, so you must never let her down." Grandpa Lu nodded in agreement. His normally strict, authoritative face was actually glowing with a delighted, genuine smile. He chimed in, "Just seeing you and Feifei together makes me absolutely fulfilled. As long as you two are happy and harmonious, that is better than anything else." Saying that, he also gave my shoulder a solid pat. Hearing all of this, Lu Feifei immediately pouted her lips, clearly showing her total dissatisfaction. So literally, no one here has even bothered to ask me if I actually want to marry this guy? However, catching a glimpse of her grandfather's stern gaze, she didn't dare say no directly in front of all these important guests. She had no choice but to drop it. "I hereby officially announce that Chen and Feifei are officially engaged." To properly nurture their budding relationship, and since they both haven't even graduated yet, there is absolutely no rush to officially tie the knot right now. Ha ha! Once Lu Feifei finally graduates from school, they can head overseas to get officially married. Standing right beside me, Lu Feifei shot me a totally speechless, annoyed glare. "What is your problem? You don't want to marry me? I haven't even started complaining about you yet, and you actually have the nerve to complain about me?" Then Lu Feifei subtly motioned for me to lower my head. "Ah, Chen, don't tell me you have actually been secretly in love with me? Is that why you are so insanely eager to marry me?" My heart had actually started racing because she leaned in so close and used such a rare, gentle tone, but I absolutely refused to admit it. So, I just shot her a sidelong glance, pulled away to create some distance, and spoke up. "Princess, you really shouldn't be this absurdly narcissistic. Who on earth is secretly crushing on you?" "I was totally forced into this too, okay?" she scoffed. "Well, since you aren't willing either, fine. Let's rebel together. I firmly believe your dad loves you way too much to force you to marry someone you don't even like. All you have to do is cry and complain to him for a bit. Once your dad's heart softens, maybe we can actually cancel this whole thing." Hearing my last sentence, Lu Feifei quietly cursed, looking totally unconvinced as she fired back. "Then why can't you be the one to bring it up? Just say we are a terrible match. Why does it always have to be me?" My own rebellious streak suddenly flared up, so I smugly replied, "I am absolutely not going to bring it up. What are you going to do about it?" Afterward, I felt it was totally necessary to remind her. But honestly, no matter what happens now, our official engagement is an ironclad reality. I strongly suggest you just accept your tragic fate. You are actually surrendering to this? I threw my hands up in the air. I have already made my absolute peace with it. Lu Feifei, what exactly are you so worried about? If we are talking about an actual wedding, that wouldn't happen until we both finish our degrees anyway. So much could randomly change between now and then. Who knows? Maybe we won't even have to tie the knot. Listening to my whole logical speech, Lu Feifei rolled her eyes playfully and scoffed. What do I have to be scared of anyway? If we get married, we get married. It is just adding a husband to my life. There is honestly nothing bad about that. What are you doing? Ah, Chen, you are seriously underestimating me right now. I can tell you know absolutely nothing about real women. Do you want to take a little test? Test it? Fine, let's test it out then. I definitely didn't expect you to be this incredibly forward, my dear Ah Chen. Well, since you are showing so much fiery passion, I definitely won't hold back anymore. Just as I was about to keep escalating things, I suddenly felt an incredibly intense burning wave of stares. I immediately pulled the two of us apart. Scanning the room, I realized that practically every single guest was staring right at us. My cheeks instantly flushed a bright crimson red. We had gotten so ridiculously carried away with our bickering that we completely forgot we were still at our own engagement party. Talk about massive public humiliation. Hearing the warm, good-natured laughter of our elders echoing behind us, I hurriedly grabbed Lu Feifei and dragged her out of there. This is completely your fault. You actually pinned me against the wall in front of everyone. Great, now the entire party saw it. What are we supposed to do now? I brushed it off effortlessly and replied, what's the point of obsessing over that now? It's literally our engagement party anyway. So what if we get a little affectionate? Just like that, we eventually made it back to our luxury apartment. When we finally reached the front door, I looked down and unlocked it with my fingerprint. Right then, Lu Feifei's smartphone started ringing loudly. Is it my mom? Seeing the caller ID, Lu Feifei rubbed her temples, suddenly feeling an inexplicable sense of impending doom. Hey, Feifei, I tell you something important. I actually had someone completely remodel your entire apartment. You two are officially an engaged couple now, so from today on, you'll be sleeping in the exact same bedroom. That is truly the only way your romance will blossom quickly. Do you understand me? Remodeled it? Mom, how on earth did you even let someone inside? Right at that exact moment, I stepped into the house, looked around, and immediately sensed something was terribly wrong. I turned to Lu Feifei and urgently asked, why does the living room look like this? Did we get robbed? Lu Feifei instantly realized exactly what was going on. She let out a nervous little laugh. Mom, please tell me you didn't demolish Ah Chen's room too? Well, of course I did. Mother Lu fired back with absolute unapologetic confidence. I am absolutely not allowing you two to sleep in separate beds. From now on, you are sleeping in the same bed, do you hear me? If you disobey, I'll ship you both overseas instantly. People get married super early abroad, you know. You two better figure it out. Ah, all right, we get it. I also bought some special gifts and left them right on your bed for you two. On the other end of the line, Mother Lu chuckled in a highly suspicious, secretive manner. You can open them yourselves in a bit. I won't bother you two any longer. Go get some rest. Good night, smooches. With that, she hung up the phone instantly. Lu Feifei felt a massive wave of dread wash over her. When we cautiously walked into the bedroom together, we spotted a surprisingly large cardboard box sitting right on the mattress. What kind of gift is this? I cheerfully ripped open the box. Your mom is actually pretty sweet to us. Wow, it's literally just balloons. She bought us a giant box of balloons. Wait, why would your mom buy so many balloons for us? What is the point? Having just ended the call, Lu Feifei noticed my utterly baffled expression and curiously leaned in closer. What exactly is in there? Is it really that incredibly fascinating? The second she laid eyes on the contents of the box, her entire face turned bright red. Her eyes darted everywhere, and she stayed completely dead silent. We basically just stared at each other in sheer awkwardness for a solid minute before bursting into nervous laughter. I glanced down at the massive box and casually remarked, there have to be hundreds of these in here. How long would it even take us to use all of this? Who on earth wants to use those with you? How are you so unbelievably full of yourself? Why are you getting so shy? We're officially an engaged couple now, aren't we? Gu Chen, you are such an absolute creep. Ha ha ha. We playfully wrestled around for a bit. After calming down, I seriously asked, so what's our actual game plan for tonight? Lu Feifei's bright smile instantly froze. It really seemed like we didn't have any brilliant options left. I stayed quiet for a moment, then finally suggested, it's getting super late anyway. You take the bed, and I'll go crash on the living room sofa. That's the final plan. Good night, sweet dreams. Not even waiting for Lu Feifei to say a single word back, I grabbed my stuff and headed out to the living room to sleep. Early the next morning, after I quickly washed up, I sat on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through my phone to kill time while waiting for her. I messed around on my phone for ages, but Lu Feifei still hadn't come out. Losing patience, I knocked on her door. Hearing absolute silence, I just pushed it wide open and stepped right inside. Lu Feifei, wake up! We're going to be late for school. Late. A moment later, he stumbled out fully dressed, telling me to hurry up. I nodded, and we absolutely bolted to campus, making it with 5 minutes to spare. Sliding into my seat, I was thrilled to avoid being late. Yujin greeted me coolly. He flashed me another smile. Just that slight smirk was enough to distract me for a second. The bell rang, the teacher walked in, and another painfully boring day began. I was feeling totally out of it, so I made up a quick excuse and slipped out. But, as I tried leaving campus, the strict security guard completely blocked my path. He told me I couldn't leave without a permission slip. I explained I didn't have one, but I really needed to step out and had already cleared it. He refused to budge, demanding the official slip. He told me I was trapped on campus unless I called my homeroom teacher to personally vouch for me over the phone. Since I was skipping class anyway, calling my teacher was basically a death sentence. Knowing this guard was way too stubborn, I walked away and hopped over the perimeter wall. Once outside, I acted on total impulse. I called up the school principal and sarcastically claimed our campus security guard was incredibly dedicated to his job before quickly hanging up. I headed back to my apartment to sleep. Meanwhile, the principal was left completely confused, eventually deciding to call the head of security to investigate this. He called the security office, repeating my exact words about them being so dedicated, and ordered a full investigation. The head of security was totally bewildered. The captain quickly realized it was not a compliment. Terrified that someone had caused massive trouble, he checked who was on duty, figuring he would just fire the guy immediately. He figured the principal wouldn't care about one lowly guard anyway. He wasn't willing to risk his own job. Meanwhile, the very same guard who had stopped me was suddenly called in for a meeting. His boss rambled on, but the only words the guard heard were that he was fired. He stared at his boss in pure shock. The guard stood there frozen, realizing that simply doing his job had ruined his life. Just then, a sweet voice called out, asking him what he was doing out there. He turned to see a girl with glasses standing right beside him. Recognizing her, he respectfully called her Miss. But Zhou Miao just laughed, saying she wasn't some rich heiress. She explained she came from a very average background and didn't need all that respect. Hearing this, the guard felt an instant connection, thanking her for her genuine kindness. He told her to study hard and build a great future for herself. He appreciated her concern, admitting he was just feeling a little bit emotional about losing his job. He hadn't planned on sharing details, but Zhou Miao kept asking. Eventually, he explained the whole crazy situation. She frowned deeply, trying to comfort the poor man by saying she promised him she would get to the bottom of this and refused to let him be fired. Before the stunned guard could reply, she spun around and sprinted away. She marched straight toward my classroom. Grabbing the first girl she saw in the hallway, she urgently asked her to call me out. The classmate nodded and quickly checked inside. The girl came back out apologizing, explaining that I wasn't around and she should try again later. The very next morning, I woke up refreshed and headed to campus. Approaching the gates, I instinctively checked for that strict guard, but noticed an unfamiliar face instead. Shrugging it off, I walked inside, spotted Zhou Miao, and cheerfully went to greet her. I wished her a good morning, but she just frowned and glared at me with pure disgust. Feeling uncomfortable, I finally asked her what her problem was and who upset her. I joked that I would get revenge for her. She snapped back that no one provoked her, adding that unlike me, the great young Master Gu, she was totally powerless. She coldly suggested that whenever I threw a tantrum, innocent people had to pay the ultimate price. Without another word, she marched away, leaving me completely baffled by her sarcastic attitude. I muttered to myself about how bizarre that was. Slumping into my seat, I felt totally miserable. Yujin glanced over and actually spoke up first, asking what ruined my mood. I looked right at Yushin and asked why Zhou Miao was furious. He stared back in stunned silence. Seeing his confusion, it finally clicked that I'd never told him anything. I sighed at my own stupidity. Yushin looked thoughtful before reminding me about my grand escape yesterday. He asked if I had said something reckless during that random phone call. I racked my brain and told him I barely said a thing. I admitted I sarcastically told the principal how dedicated our lovely security team was, but nothing more than that. Yushin sat in silence before letting out a heavy sigh. He pointed out that if he were the principal, he would have instantly demanded answers from his security team to investigate. He guessed the security boss totally misunderstood my sarcasm, causing Zhou Miao to take it personally. I stared at him, completely lost, asking if he was actually sure about his wild theory. I begged him to explain. Yushin then broke it down for me, explaining that our school had practically recruited Zhou Miao with a massive scholarship because her exam scores were incredibly high. He added that she only accepted the offer because her family was flat broke. I was shocked. Her clothes never gave off that vibe, though maybe she just carried herself gracefully. Anything she wore somehow looked perfectly elegant. Yushin swore it was all true, mentioning that plenty of people already knew she came from an average, single-parent household, struggling to scrape by. He even heard her mother was horribly bullied by wealthy people at her old job. I was absolutely floored by this heavy backstory, finally understanding her hostile attitude toward me earlier. She must have totally misunderstood my actions. Yushin pointed out all the trust fund kids constantly confessing their love to her around campus lately, making it pretty obvious how she felt. They were obviously getting rejected on the spot. I asked if she would treat a normal guy differently. Yujin just shrugged, admitting no one really knew, since it simply hadn't happened. Our college was strictly for the elite, meaning almost everyone here had serious money. Only a tiny handful of students were accepted purely for their academic brilliance. But they kept their heads down. They felt too insecure to ever confess to her. I nodded, finally understanding everything. Her intense anger made total sense now. She was definitely linking my stupid prank to her mother's painful history. Yujin figured she assumed I had lashed out and bullied a helpless security guard just because I was having a bad day. I groaned in frustration, swearing that was absolutely never my intention. I admitted I was annoyed, but I wasn't some toxic playboy who abused my power. Yushin sighed deeply, his cool voice cutting through my defense as he pointed out reality. He reminded me that things like this happened constantly, because the strong always crushed the weak. Hearing that, the guilt hit me hard, and I realized I had to take full responsibility. I boldly declared that I knew exactly how to fix this mess. Yushin asked what my plan was, but suddenly the entire room went dead silent. The professor was glaring at us. He snapped that we were disrupting the lecture and told us to step outside. We quickly shut our mouths. The second class ended. I bolted straight out of the room to find Zhou Miao. Arriving at her classroom, I politely asked a random girl to tell Zhou Miao that Gu Chen was waiting. The girl smirked, teasing me about showing up so early to make a romantic confession. I'm rooting for you. I'm not here for that, honestly. Just go grab him for me, please. Since you're so insanely handsome, I'll do you a solid. I really think you have a great shot. Make it count, Zhou Miao. There's a super handsome guy outside named Gu Chen asking for you. I waited out there, sweating that she might just ignore me. Surprisingly, she actually showed up. Is that so? Her tone was freezing cold. That honestly stung a bit, knowing she was definitely still misunderstanding my intentions. Just give me 5 minutes. Let's talk outside. Fine. We left the classroom heading straight to the empty lot right beside the main teaching building. I checked my surroundings. Once I was totally sure nobody was watching us, I looked her dead in the eye. About that security guard, I didn't do it. Getting him fired doesn't benefit me at all. I promise, I'll fix this mess. But Zhou Miao, you've been really out of line lately. You don't even know the real story, yet you just pin all the blame directly on me. Do you think that's fair? I spun around, completely ready to just walk away. Zhou Miao stared at me, totally stunned by my absolute seriousness. Seeing me leave, she suddenly jogged a few steps, grabbed my arm tight, and whispered, I'm sorry. I froze, but I absolutely refused to look back. She said it again, I'm so sorry. Hearing my explanation, she finally realized she had misjudged me entirely. She had just assumed I was exactly like all those other guys, approaching her with some hidden agenda. She instinctively pegged me as just another entitled jerk who uses his power and status to bully innocent people. She genuinely never expected I'd take the time to sincerely explain the whole security guard situation to her. Thinking about that, a remarkably soft smile crossed her face. This time, I turned back and said sharply, Your apology is heard loud and clear. But honestly, I'm not ready to forgive you just yet. I shook her hand off my arm and walked away. Zhou Miao just stood there, staring blankly at my back for the longest time. After that, I marched straight toward the principal's office. Even though the warning bell had already rung, I honestly couldn't have cared less. I burst right into the principal's office and demanded, We need to talk now. The poor assistant trailed behind, panicking. I'm so sorry, sir. I simply couldn't stop young Master Gu. The principal was holding his aching forehead, ready to absolutely explode at whoever barged in. But the second he realized that was me, his furious scowl instantly morphed into a massive, flattering grin. Ha ha ha! Young Master Gu, to what do I owe the immense pleasure? Please, come have a seat. You, get out of here for a second. Young Master Gu and I have some very important matters to discuss. The secretary stood there completely dumbfounded. It was probably his first time seeing the principal act so incredibly sweet and subservient to a mere student. Snapping back to reality after catching the principal's deadly glare, he scrambled out of the room. I sat down, actually. I walked right up to his mahogany desk, slammed my hand down hard, and demanded, Tell me why the hell you did that. I merely praised our school's security guard for being exceptionally dedicated to his job. Yes, I fully admit, my tone was definitely awful yesterday, but I absolutely didn't mean for him to get punished. Fired? No, I simply asked the security captain to look into the situation and report back to me. I never ordered anyone to be fired. I genuinely never wanted to dismiss him. Uncle, you need to rehire that security guard immediately. Bring him back to his post. Seriously, Uncle, let him come back. He is genuinely dedicated and incredibly responsible. Having an employee with that kind of intense passion for his job is something this school should be profoundly proud of. The principal pondered this for a quick second. Well, all right then. Since you're asking so nicely, I really can't say no to you. But Gu Chen, listen to me. You can't keep doing this. You can't just lose your temper and start wildly looking for trouble or saying things you'll regret. You're an adult now. You need to finally learn how to take real responsibility for your own actions. Those few heavy words from the principal actually froze me in my tracks. I really started reflecting on my behavior. Once my mind cleared, I gave him a respectful bow and said, You're totally right. I was genuinely out of line on this one. How about this? When you inevitably hire that guard back, Give him a nice little raise, okay? And obviously I'll completely cover the difference myself. Just pay it out under my personal name. After saying that, I immediately grabbed my smartphone and transferred the funds directly to the principal's account. Then, I casually strolled out of his office. Stepping into the hallway, my entire body felt completely weightless. With that absolute disaster finally resolved, I breathed a massive sigh of relief. I started happily humming a catchy tune as I made my way back toward the main building. Walking along, I suddenly bumped right into Lu Feifei. I looked at her, totally curious. Hey, where are you rushing off to? She stopped dead in her tracks, completely silent. She just crossed her arms tightly over her chest and stared intensely at me for what felt like forever. Her intense glare made me feel incredibly awkward. Finally, she snapped. What the hell were you doing inside the principal's office? You literally went there just for that girl, Zhou Miao, didn't you? Answer me.
What?
How did you even know I know Zhou Miao? Lu Feifei bit her soft pink lip and practically hissed. She and I have major history. How could I possibly not know who she is? Then she glared at me like I was a total disappointment. Gu Chen, you absolute jerk. The second you see some pretty girl, you just throw yourself right at her without a single second thought. It all makes perfect sense to me now. That nice young lady you mentioned before was actually Zhou Miao all along. And another thing, when you suddenly demanded to get out of the car earlier today, that was completely because you spotted her, wasn't it? So you just ditched me. What's your actual problem? If you're really not into me, just say it straight to my face. It's not like I'm going to violently cling to you forever. She finished shouting, her bright eyes rapidly welling up with heavy tears. Seeing her absolutely breaking down like that genuinely made my chest ache. I quickly softened my voice to frantically explain. Feifei, I swear I didn't mean it like that. Seriously, I just treat her as a normal friend. A friend? The video of you two getting overly affectionate has already spread across the entire campus. Literally everyone knows you're the very first guy Zhou Miao has ever shown special attention to. Wait, what video? What do you mean, overly affectionate? Lu Feifei furiously whipped out her smartphone and aggressively shoved a playing video right in my face. I leaned in for a closer look. Unbelievably, the footage was literally just me and Zhou Miao talking from a few minutes ago. But because whoever filmed it was standing so incredibly far away, you couldn't hear a single word we said. You could only see our physical gestures. Honestly, anyone who didn't know the context would definitely assume we were flirting heavily. No, you've completely got this all wrong. Got what wrong? Did you, or did you not go searching for her? Were you two grabbing each other out there? And that person who supposedly gave you directions, the one you desperately wanted to treat to a nice dinner as a huge thank you, that was totally her, wasn't it? You've literally only known this girl for a few days and you're already obsessed with her. Tell me, does she even have the slightest clue that you already have a girlfriend? She started aggressively pounding her small fists against my chest, over and over again. I stayed completely silent, suddenly feeling incredibly exhausted by all of this drama. I raised my hand and slowly wiped my face. I felt pretty damn wronged myself. Dealing with Zhou Miao's insane misunderstanding today was already exhausting enough. But I genuinely never expected that even Lu Feifei would completely lose all trust in me. Turns out, she was just hiding right in the dark corner of the stairwell. She peeked up, and when she didn't see me running after her, she furiously buried her face deep into her knees. Total bullshit, you massive idiot. Heavy tears completely flooded her eyes all over again. Lu Feifei muffled her voice, sobbing absolutely miserably in the shadows. Honestly, how long had it been since she cried this incredibly hard? From the moment she was born, she had always been the wildly spoiled princess of her family's heart. When had she ever been forced to swallow this much bitter grievance? And then there was me, Gu Chen. How could I have possibly treated her like that? The more she obsessed over it, the angrier she got, and the more incredibly wronged she felt. Who even knows how long she sat there bawling her eyes out? Right at that exact moment, a pair of long legs stepped directly into her blurry, tear-filled field of vision. Feifei. Finally, I had used my brain, and came searching for her. She was crying so incredibly hard, looking exactly like a pathetic, deeply wronged little bunny. Are you doing okay? I finally snapped out of my daze. Meanwhile, Lu Feifei suddenly felt massively awkward. She desperately didn't want me to see her looking like such a total wreck. Hey, how did you even find me here? Hearing her painfully hoarse voice, I frowned deeply and asked, how long exactly have you been hiding in here crying? She flatly refused to answer. She just slowly stood up and mumbled, let's go, we'll talk outside. We strolled quietly down the completely empty campus pathways. Since classes were still in full swing, there wasn't a single soul around, just an eerie silence. I finally turned and asked, are you heading back to the classroom? She thought about it for a second, then quickly shook her head. No, I don't want to go back. Even without a mirror, she totally knew how violently red and swollen her eyes were from all that crying. If she went back now, the other nosy students would definitely start asking annoying questions. Even though the campus was pretty huge, aimlessly wandering around would eventually draw too much unwanted attention. So, we naturally found our way into a quiet little park. Then at the exact same time, we both blurted out, I'm sorry, this was my fault. We both completely froze for a second, then immediately exchanged a soft knowing smile. I'm really sorry, Feifei. I absolutely never should have treated you like that. The truth is, Zhou Miao and I are literally just friends. I genuinely never intended for her to become some massive wedge, driving us apart. And like I mentioned before, taking her out to eat was purely just to thank her. And about that stupid video, I was honestly already packing up and fully prepared to leave right then. She was the one who reached out and physically grabbed me. After that, we completely maintained our distance. I was wrong too. I really should have trusted you from the start. Honestly, I was just feeling incredibly jealous. It seemed like my Chen was getting way too close to that Zhou Miao girl and completely ignoring my feelings. That's the only reason I got so incredibly heartbroken. But even though I'm still highly annoyed, you did eventually manage to track me down in that dark stairwell. You performed decently well under pressure. Plus, I suppose I did completely misjudge your intentions earlier. So, we'll just call it even. I officially forgive you. Let's just head straight home together. Those puffy eyes of yours desperately need a good ice pack treatment right now. Otherwise, by tomorrow morning, you're gonna look exactly like a giant panda. Hearing my teasing, Lu Feifei immediately shot me another fierce glare. I just burst out laughing. I threw an arm around his shoulder, ready to head back. Once we got home, we tidied up a little bit. It had been an exhausting day for both of us, so we just washed up and crashed. By the time I arrived at school the next morning and walked toward the teaching building, Zhou Miao's figure caught my eye once again. I quickly let Lu Feifei know my plan. I told her I was just going over to say a few words to Zhou Miao, since we didn't finish talking about that incident yesterday. Worried she might get upset again, I rapidly added a promise. I told her I'd be incredibly fast and come back within 5 minutes. After tossing that out, I immediately sprinted over, leaving Lu Feifei to give a soft snort as she stepped to the side to wait for me. Zhou Miao. Wait up a second, I called out to him. Zhou Miao turned around and flashed a warm smile, greeting me with a cheerful good morning, Gu Chen. I quickly brought up the whole security guard situation. When he heard my explanation, he replied in total shock, I never expected you to actually go straight to the principal. I already had the school hire the guard back, so you really don't need to worry. Zhou Miao apologized again, telling me he deeply regretted misunderstanding me. It's a small thing. Anyway, I need to get back to my classroom. See you later. After saying goodbye, I grabbed Lu Feifei and we walked off together. A moment later, I reached my own classroom, parting ways with her. Just as I was about to step inside, I spotted Zhou Miao walking past. Class was about to start in literally 1 minute, so why wasn't he heading back to his own room? Filled with curiosity, I quietly decided to follow him. On the other side of campus, the moment Lu Feifei took her seat, the smile vanished from her face, replaced by a freezing cold stare. Wu Qian approached her with trembling steps, carefully whispering, Miss? Lu Feifei's slender fingers tapped impatiently against the desk. She looked incredibly annoyed, tapping rhythmically for a long while, before finally speaking. Go to the second classroom on the 3rd floor and handle a quick task for me. Wu Qian nodded with extreme obedience, anxiously waiting for her next words. Go find out if Gu Chen is in his classroom right now and see exactly who he's talking to. Report absolutely everything back to me, but don't let him realize you're there. Do you hear me? Understood. Lu Feifei waved her hand dismissively, her expression relaxing just a fraction as a faint smile appeared. I'll go immediately, Wu Qian said, rushing out of the room. But she hadn't gone very far before bumping straight into Bai Qingrong. He was a sophomore, and undeniably the most handsome guy around. He was Lu Feifei's #1 admirer, proudly parading around as her official boyfriend. Seeing him, Wu Qian immediately began sucking up to him. Hey there, handsome? Looking for the miss? She's absolutely waiting for you inside. Bai Qingrong had pale skin and an inherent icy aloofness, but whenever he smiled, that cold exterior instantly melted away. He gave a slight nod and asked, where exactly are you rushing off to? Buying something for her? No? Well, yes. The miss asked me to head up to the 3rd floor, 2nd classroom, to find someone for her. Find who, a guy? Yeah, a guy named Gu Chen. Wu Qian always made it a point to flatter the men surrounding Lu Feifei, answering every single question. Gu Chen? What exactly is his relationship with Lu Feifei? Wu Qian looked genuinely conflicted and replied nervously, I really have no idea. I'm strictly just following the boss's direct orders. She figured if she got any juicy intel later, she absolutely wouldn't hide it from him. Even though she wasn't sure how long this guy would last by Lu Feifei's side, securing his favor now was just a smart strategic move. A little bribery now could definitely prove useful down the line. Bai Qingrong suddenly laughed out loud and told Wu Qian, I'm actually a bit thirsty. Do me a favor, run to the store and grab me a drink first. Bring one for Feifei too. Seeing Wu Qian hesitate, Bai Qingrong glared sharply at her. Who's more important here, this Gu Chen guy or me? You better weigh your options carefully. Looking at his arrogant posture, Wu Qian figured he was highly favored right now. He might even break the all-time record and become the man who stayed by Lu Feifei's side the longest. Plus, the young lady hadn't shown any signs of getting bored of him lately, and she certainly hadn't lined up any new targets yet. Weighing her options quickly, Wu Qian decided Bai Qingrong was the safer bet. She immediately shifted into full suck-up mode. Do you even have to ask? Obviously you are. The absolute priority here. I'll go buy those right now. Don't worry, with me helping out, Feifei won't get mad. You can get the drinks first, and I'll still have plenty of time to find this Gu Chen guy. Ah, exactly. One word from you is worth 10 from anyone else. All right, hurry up and go. Stop running your mouth. Watching Wu Qian scurry off in the direction of the school store, Bai Qingrong finally pulled his gaze away. He took his time, strolling leisurely into the classroom. Feifei, he called out, walking straight toward her the second he stepped through the door. The desk right next to hers was always kept completely empty. In reality, it was strictly reserved for her boyfriends to use. Bai Qingrong casually dropped into the neighboring chair, throwing an arm around her shoulder and leaning in close. When she didn't reply, he finally noticed the extremely weird vibe in the room. Lifting his head to look at Lu Feifei's completely expressionless face, he actually jumped in surprise. Putting on a deeply caring act, he asked, "Feifei, what's wrong with you? Who on earth made you so mad?" She was already irritated, and his arrival only made things worse. "Why are you here?" "Because I missed you," Bai Qingrong replied, staring at her with deep affection. But Lu Feifei completely ignored him. Her entire mind seemed captivated by something else, leaving him feeling deeply dissatisfied. He didn't dare show it though. His gut instinct told him she was definitely obsessing over this Gu Chen guy right now. A moment later, Wu Qian returned, panting heavily in the doorway as she caught her breath, gripping a bottle in each hand. She walked right over. "Your drink, miss." She carefully placed the beverages in front of both of them. Lu Feifei shifted her icy gaze from the bottle straight up to Wu Qian's terrified face. "Did I ever ask you to buy me a drink?" "I told her to buy it. I care about you and didn't want you getting thirsty." The air in the room seemed to freeze solidly for a second. Suddenly, Lu Feifei shot him a deeply alienating look and said ruthlessly, "Disappear from my sight right now. I never want to see you again." Bai Qingrong stared back in absolute shock and panic. He couldn't fathom why she was exploding with such intense rage. "Feifei, I know I messed up, please don't chase me away." But he had severely miscalculated. Lu Feifei was in absolutely no mood to pamper his feelings. "Don't make me repeat myself." Then she snapped at Wu Qian. "Did you finish that task I gave you?" "No, miss." "Please don't be angry. I'm heading over there right this second." Bai Qingrong stared intensely at Lu Feifei and finally asked, "So, what you're saying right now is, you want to break up with me?" It was as if he desperately needed to hear it clearly before he could accept it as reality. "Yes," Lu Feifei replied with a sharp nod. "Starting today, don't ever show your face in front of me again." But why? Why could she be so insanely heartless? He'd heard the rumors before, that the young lady was never loyal. She treated you like gold while dating, but the moment it ended, she was cold as ice. You could never expect her to care about past feelings. But he truly believed he was the exception to her rule. Her words struck him like a massive bolt of lightning. Yet, for the other boys in the room, this was the greatest news they could possibly hear. Every single guy in that class had fought tooth and nail to get in, purely to get closer to her, hoping proximity would win her over. Now that she was single again, their chances had returned. Because of that, they showed absolutely zero mercy toward Bai Qingrong. They started mocking him relentlessly. "Get out of here. How can you be so utterly shameless? The miss already told you to get lost, and you're still clinging to her. Hurry up and leave. Yeah, and don't you dare step foot in our classroom ever again. Can't you see she's totally disgusted by you? Who do you even think you are? Roll out of here and stop polluting her eyesight." Bai Qingrong's face turned deathly pale. He had never endured this kind of brutal humiliation before. From the moment he entered Shangdi Academy, his good looks and a bit of luck quickly made him her boyfriend, earning him the title of the new campus idol. Shangdi had an unspoken rule. Whoever dated Lu Feifei automatically became the most popular guy in school. He had constantly basked in that glory, feeling utterly adored by everyone. But the higher you are placed on a pedestal, the harder you fall. Unable to bear their venomous insults for another second, he turned and bolted out the door. Lu Feifei didn't even spare him a passing glance. She merely swept her calm, chilling eyes across the room, and instantly, every single person shut their mouths. A profound, unexplainable anxiety was gnawing at her heart. She couldn't pinpoint exactly why. As she was just about to stand up, Wu Qian came rushing back in an absolute panic. "Miss, that guy you wanted me to find, he's not in his classroom at all. I asked his classmates, and they said he walked in and immediately walked right back out. He hasn't returned since." Lu Feifei's tone turned completely distant. "What? He hasn't gone back? Then where the hell did he go?" No wonder she had felt so incredibly anxious. Her terrible premonition had actually come true. Wu Qian was utterly bewildered, secretly wondering who this Gu Chen guy even was. What was his real connection to Lu Feifei? How could a guy like him make her care this deeply? Lu Feifei furrowed her brows sharply, stood up from her desk, and firmly declared, "Even if we have to flip this entire school upside down, find him." Did this guy somehow offend Lu Feifei? Everyone was thinking it. It was the first time anyone had seen her lose her temper like this. Her face looked absolutely awful. Wu Qian was sweating bullets, noticing the crowd of curious classmates gathering around them. They all looked completely confused, wondering what the hell happened and who the wealthy heiress was looking for. But nobody dared to step up and ask, let alone make a sound. Right now, Feifei radiated an icy, stay away from me aura. Once she finally stormed out of the classroom, everyone exchanged nervous glances and started whispering. "Did you see that?" The heiress looked absolutely furious. "I don't think I've ever seen her this mad before in my entire life. Who do you think she's actually looking for? Whoever it is must have done something incredibly stupid to piss her off. Looks like that guy is totally doomed. Feifei is terrifying when she gets mad. Tell me about it. The only reason Wu Qian managed to become her loyal sidekick, aside from constantly kissing up, was her actual efficiency in getting things done. She quickly ran over to the security guards to ask around. Meanwhile, Feifei was pacing the campus corridor, feeling completely anxious and restless. Not knowing what else to do, she just found an empty classroom and sat down to wait for Wu Qian's return. When her sidekick came back, she reported that no student had left the campus today. That meant Gu Chen, was still inside the school. Hearing this news, Feifei's expression finally softened just a little bit. She immediately ordered Wu Qian to mobilize everyone. Just as she promised, they were going to turn the entire campus upside down to find me. Even though Shanghai is massive, with Feifei's family influence, locating one student shouldn't be hard at all. In fact, it should be a total piece of cake. But what she absolutely never expected was that they would come back empty-handed. They couldn't find me anywhere. She glared furiously at Wu Qian. What do you mean you can't find him? Wu Qian's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, too scared to wipe it. She stammered nervously. We searched everywhere we possibly could. We even checked the teacher's private offices and the student dorms, but he's just not there. He might really not be on the campus anymore. Not in school? What? Did he suddenly grow wings and fly away? The guards swore they never saw Gu Chen leave the gates. He has to be somewhere inside this school. Where else could he possibly run off to? Miss, I honestly can't figure it out either. Oh wait, maybe he found another way to sneak out of the school without the guards noticing? Or maybe he didn't use the main gate, so they just missed him entirely. Feifei stayed silent for a moment and didn't reply. I had just transferred to Shanghai High. There was no way I knew any secret escape routes, but despite that fact, it seemed like the only logical explanation left. Otherwise, how could Gu Chen just vanish into thin air? She didn't believe in ghosts or spirits, so she definitely ruled out any supernatural campus mysteries. But I hadn't told her a single thing either. Where in the world did I go? Disappearing so mysteriously like this, what if something terrible happened to me? She was terrified I might have gotten into an accident. She didn't even dare to think about it. Wu Qian was basically the ultimate know-it-all at Shanghai. She knew pretty much everything about this school, so she quickly put the pieces together. If I didn't leave through the main gate, what other secret ways were there to sneak out unnoticed? Oh right, miss. Doesn't our school have a security camera system? If we check the footage from those specific spots, we might find a clue. Feifei had been too panicked to remember that. She nodded firmly. Let's do it. We are checking those security tapes right now. Wu Qian looked at her awkwardly and said, but only the principal has the authority to view the security footage. I don't have the clearance to check them. You'll have to handle this yourself, miss. Feifei coldly replied, got it. She turned and headed straight toward the principal's office, with Wu Qian hurrying right behind her. Inside the principal's office, the leather chair behind the big desk was quickly taken over by Feifei. Miss Lu, this right here is the school's surveillance system. There are exactly 300 active camera feeds in total. You can check them however you please. 300? That was a massive amount of footage. Feifei frowned deeply. Wu Qian instantly read the frustration on her face and stepped forward eagerly. Miss, how about you let me search through them? No need. I will do this myself. Wu Qian was a bit stunned but didn't dare argue, stepping back to wait for further orders. Feifei's slender fingers began typing nimbly across the computer keyboard. It was clearly her first time using this specific network, but she navigated it like a total pro. She didn't even ask the principal for instructions, effortlessly controlling the entire interface on her own. Wu Qian watched in absolute shock. Even though her boss usually only used computers to play video games, her technical skills here were flawless. Wu Qian had followed the Heiress for a long time, but she never knew her boss possessed such impressive hacking abilities. Very quickly, Feifei pulled up the exact locations Wu Qian had mentioned. She played 6 different video feeds simultaneously, hitting fast forward. She processed the information instantly, staring unblinking at the multiple screens. Standing behind her, Wu Qian felt extremely dizzy just watching the fast-moving footage. After merely 10 minutes, Wu Qian's eyes felt incredibly dry and sore, but Feifei seemed completely unaffected, actually speeding up the playback even more. Another 10 minutes passed. Wu Qian felt her brain throbbing, almost unable to take it anymore, but she didn't dare to slack off, forcing herself to keep staring at the monitors. Suddenly, Feifei shouted out loud, "Found him!" Wu Qian jumped in surprise and quickly leaned in close to the glowing screen. There, right on the security feed, was a shot of me, slowly strolling out from the small path near the campus's back mountain. I was holding a freshly bought soda, looking completely relaxed and carefree. Feifei tapped her fingers hard against the desk, and the extreme tension on her face finally eased up just a bit. Half angry and half relieved, she cursed under her breath. He actually went hiding in the back mountain. Gu Chen, you absolute jerk, you drove me completely crazy looking for you. Wu Qian looked at her boss's anxious and frustrated expression, unable to help but ask quietly, Miss, are we going to the back mountain to get him now? Feifei took a deep breath, pushing down her lingering panic, stood up and marched right out the door. Of course we're going. I need to ask him why he vanished without a single word. and made the whole school scramble around looking for him. Meanwhile, I had just finished enjoying the breeze on the back mountain and was planning to head back to the class. That's when I saw Feifei walking briskly toward me. Her eyes were slightly red. It was obvious she had been worried sick. My heart instantly softened. I was just about to open my mouth to apologize when she walked straight up to me and gently punched my chest. "Gu Chen, do you have any idea how worried I was about you? I thought something terrible happened. I flipped this entire school upside down and even checked the security network. I searched everywhere, and you were just hiding out here slacking off. Class was just getting too stuffy, so I wanted to get some fresh air. I had no idea it would make you panic like this. I'm so sorry, Feifei." I quickly grabbed her hand and explained softly. She glared at me but didn't pull her hand away. "Don't you ever do this again. Even if you want to leave, you have to let me know first." I smiled, nodding, and reached out to gently ruffle her hair. "I got it, my beautiful fiancé." Hearing that specific word, Feifei's cheeks instantly flushed a bright red. She gave me a light, playful push. "Who's your fiancé? Stop flattering yourself." Watching her act so shy and flustered, my heart was completely filled with pure warmth. From our forced engagement to living together and bickering, and even that silly misunderstanding over Zhou Miao, I suddenly realized I had already fallen deeply in love with this girl I'd grown up with. We'd been childhood sweethearts, fighting since we were kids. I had also made things completely clear with Zhou Miao. We were just ordinary friends. She understood my true feelings and smiled, wishing Feifei and me the very best. Yushin still kept that cool, aloof demeanor, occasionally greeting me. We maintained the perfect, respectful distance of normal classmates. As for the security guard who was fired over that misunderstanding, I didn't just have the principal rehire him. I personally paid out of pocket to give him a raise. The guard thanked me endlessly, and I finally understood that I shouldn't act recklessly just because of my wealthy family background. I needed to learn to respect everyone. Feifei also completely cut ties with Bai Qingrong, focusing entirely on our relationship. We were no longer the playful, stubborn kids we used to be. Instead, we went to class together, left school together, and returned to our shared apartment together. We still bickered occasionally, but we always made up quickly. Soon enough, we successfully graduated. The Lu family stopped rushing us, choosing to fully respect our own wishes instead. Once we were both truly ready, we held a beautiful, intimate wedding. On our big day, Feifei wore a stunning white gown. She looked at me with curved, smiling eyes, completely overflowing with tenderness. I held her hand tightly and made my solemn vow surrounded by the cheers of our family and friends. "Lu Feifei, we've been arguing since we were little kids. I genuinely thought we were destined to be lifelong enemies. But now I finally know that you are the one person I want to cherish most in this life. I will take amazing care of you from now on. We are never ever falling apart." "Gu Chen, I do," Feifei replied with teary eyes and a bright smile. My parents, her parents, and Grandpa Lu sat in the audience, looking incredibly proud and relieved. The family staff smiled and clapped loudly. Zhou Miao and Yushin, attending as our guests, also offered their most sincere blessings. After getting married, we stayed just as incredibly sweet as when we were dating. Sometimes we'd look back and laugh at all those silly childhood fights. I finally realized that the very best kind of love isn't about some massive, earth-shattering, dramatic encounter. It's about the steady companionship of your childhood sweetheart. It's about fighting, making up, and still wanting to spend the rest of your life with them. From then on, Feifei and I stayed right by each other's side, living earnestly and cherishing every single moment together. And our days turned into the happiest of times.